Let's talk about talk. Let's go deep. We all have something to share. KnolShare with Dr. Dave.
All right. Hello and welcome to the KnolShare with Dr. Dave podcast. I am Dave A. Cornelius, affectionately known as Dr. Dave. And in this episode of Humans Being Human, we explore what enables us to thrive, relationships and connection, from from family and friendships to business partnerships. Our ability to form meaningful bonds shapes our experiences. But how can we strike balance between authenticity and convenience in a world increasingly influenced by AI and digital distractions? And my friend and our guest today, Marilyn Johnson, she's going to share some insights on nurturing deep relationships in business and in life, emphasizing why genuine human connection is more than critical than ever. So, Sister Marilyn, welcome. I know you told me, well, you're not singing for us, but maybe you're going to share a phrase or a statement that inspires you today.
You know what, Dave? What's interesting? Well, first, hello, and thank you for inviting me to the podcast. I'm excited to talk to you as always. Um, the one thing that I do is I just find inspiration from so many different things. I hear different quotes, and I'm like, hey, that's a good one. So I have a list of ongoing quotes that I heard, and one that I loved, especially in this time, was about diversity. And the quote was, don't worry about the letters, hence DEI, just do good work.
That's
And I say,
right.
you know what? That's absolutely right. What's crazy is that we've always tried to do good work. That was our goal, do the best we could for a lot of different communities. I happen to work in an area where it's not just diversity focused, but heavily. So I am still marching in the same direction to do good work. I don't care what you call it.
That's good. So, why don't you give us a 30-second elevator pitch about you? I know you are a University of Chicago MBA graduate, so woo!
You know what's funny about that is I never talk about a degree because that means nothing to me.
Mm,
When I got my degree, it was because I just wanted something else to add to my toolbox. But I was also one of the oldest students in my class. I had already worked for over 15 years. So I was really the old person in the corner. But professionally, I have been running my own business for the last, and it's just crazy, 25 years. And I can say that I've never had the same day twice, but I've always tried to do good work in the arena of working for and on behalf of suppliers, specifically diverse owned, women owned, and small business suppliers. And I coordinate the activities between the suppliers and their corporate clients or potential clients. So that's where the term supplier development consultant comes from. I am a supplier development consultant and I have worked with some popular companies that many of you may know, but I've also worked with some smaller ones and I've loved it from that perspective of just my professional life. Personally, I just like people. And that's how my work connects me to the things that I think I'm strongest at and the things I love. Is that at the end of the day, I like people and I like to do things that will enhance the companies that are out there trying to gain an edge, trying to grow, or even just become better in sustaining where they are.
yeah, I mean, thank you for that. And you know, I wanted to talk to you about relationship because you're like one of the first people, that we've connected to, connected with each other, maybe 7 years ago,
Mhm.
in Tucson, Arizona. So I really wanted to know that how do relationships really contribute to fostering these great partnerships and driving business growth, especially when we're talking about the supplier diversity development area?
You know what? I learned many years ago, people work with people they like. I don't care what you do. I am in supplier development, but you could be selling shoes. It doesn't matter. People will work with you if they like you. So the first thing they have to do is know who you are. Now, many people can tell right off the bat if there's a canned kind of introduction. Um, and honestly, depending on what you're selling, that may work. In my space, it doesn't. I have a very long runway from meeting a potential client to actually getting the work. Sometimes it's crazy. I have been able to sign deals in under, let's say, a month's worth of interaction, which is extremely short. But on average, it takes me about 3 years to cultivate a relationship with a potential client to win the contract. Rarely do I respond to RFPs because I learned early along nobody was really looking for my service because many people didn't even know what it was. And then I started talking to them about it, and they're like, oh my God, that's exactly what we need. So, number one, people work with those who they like. So you got to be likable. And they work with folks they know. They have to know you. You have to get out there and meet people, and then they start connecting you. So it doesn't always even have to be with, say, a supplier or rather a procurement person or buyer. It could be with another supplier. They have relationships that if they like you, they'll introduce you to their contacts.
Yeah, I mean, that's really true, to try to connect people and learn more about other opportunities, but even just learning about other people. So when you think about balancing this true human connection with strategic goals, to really build business relationships, how does that work? How do you do that?
You know what? It's not that scientific, Dave. I don't separate one from the other. I
Mm.
know what I do. So that I think that's important for me to repeat. You have to know what you do. You have to know what you offer. And then once I know that, I also start to look for the potential clients that would make sense to partner with me. So not everyone, no matter the size of the company, not everyone would be a good customer. So doing the research to figure out, okay, what company would I think want to have this type of program and this type of engagement? Because everybody doesn't. And even when I started, what I learned quickly was because I'm offering a service, the first thing I did was I went to a service company because companies that provide services understand service providers. Whereas sometimes companies that don't provide an actual intangible service, they don't fully get it. They need more examples. And so I started with a service company. Actually it was another consulting firm. And once I was able to really build a solid program with them, that was my example to then go to other companies and say, hey, this is what I did for XYZ company. And most people were familiar with them. And they're like, oh, okay, so you're the person who built it. So just over time doing that. But yeah, there was no great strategy. I think it was just, I want to say it was just um, sales 101,
Mm.
maybe 2.1. I don't know.
Yeah, I would think that would be more 2.1. 101 would just get you in the door, probably. Sometimes we have these pivotal moments, you
Mhm.
know, and a relationship, personal or professional, where that could really just change your perspective of even your career path. What was that for you?
Oh my goodness. So here's the thing. You know, you talk to people and they have all these great stories and you're like, whoa, that was really, really a brilliant moment, or they did something great. Let me tell you, I never sought out to be an entrepreneur. Um, I didn't even know what I could do, but I went to a conference just because I had gotten laid off. Let me be very clear. I have been laid off by a couple of companies. No shame in that. I went to a conference because that was what I used to do for my last job. I saw some people and I just had a random business card because the one thing I did learn from what University of Chicago is a lot of times you attach yourself to a company or a thing. And so in the back in the day when we all walked around with business cards, well, those
Yeah.
business cards had the name of our corporation that we worked for, our title. So I was like, well, I guess I need a business card. I had it created. Actually, my best friend did it. And we X-Acto knife cut out like 10. So this is really as basic as you can get. And I went to this conference and it just had my name on it. And I had a logo. My friend created the logo. And that was it. And my phone number and email. And I saw some people I used to work for. Well, not work for, but work with. And I gave my card to this one guy named Dale. He and I worked together for about 5 years. And when I handed him my card, he looked at it and he says, wow, you started your own company. I always thought you would be a great business owner. And the light bulb went off. So it was like, I had never ever thought of it. But when someone else brought it to my attention, that was, as Oprah used to say, that's the light bulb moment. And I had never experienced that before. And from that day to this one, I've never looked back. I said, well, heck, worst case scenario is that if this business thing doesn't work out, I'll just go get a job. Now, of course, we all know it's not that simple, but that was my plan B. My plan A was to try and figure out what good or service I could provide and then go for it. But then my plan B was, and if this doesn't work out, I'll just start looking for a job. Brush that resume off and start networking that way for a permanent position.
And look at you, 25 years later, still
Crazy.
going strong, is what I'm saying.
Crazy. I would have
Yeah.
never guessed it. I would have never guessed it.
You know, I mean, sometimes you and I talk about AI and how wonderful AI can be. Well,
Yeah.
it has been in terms of my productivity anyway.
Yes, yes.
So, I mean, as we start to leverage AI to streamline our communication and networking, how do we ensure that our genuine human connection aren't lost in this whole world of automation?
So what I learned from the pandemic when we were all shut down, because a
Hmm.
large portion of my business was me traveling. Dave, as you know,
Yep.
4 weeks in a month, I was gone a solid 2.5 weeks a lot of times. And when COVID hit and everything shut down, I had to learn how to navigate the world for a lot of people that had never ever experienced working from home. I always worked from home. So
Yeah.
that was nothing new to me. And so I was able to make the adjustment pretty easy once people started figuring out how to use Zoom, how to use Teams, how to use Google Meets. Like they were trying to figure this whole thing out. And so once that started moving, that was like a progression utilizing technology for a lot of folks. Then when AI came along, people had become very comfortable being somewhat detached because we're on, for instance, Dave, you and I are not in the same state.
Nope.
And we became very comfortable talking to folks via a screen. AI came along and it made things so much easier, but easy is not always best
Yeah.
because, like everything else, people started to lean on technology, especially when it was coming to networking and even programming. And now they're leaning heavily on AI. It depends on what you use it for. And so, what I've been doing is I use it for certain things, but never do I use it to build that relationship. I cannot build a relationship with anybody without ever physically talking to them. At least that's the way I operate. There may be other people who can. Again, it depends on their good or service. But for me and the business that I'm running, it requires communication. Now, we don't have to be in the same room, but it does require communication. I'm going to tell you now, although you have tools like Teams and Zoom and all the other different video conference tools, I miss just getting on the phone. I get
Mm.
tired of being in front of the camera because before COVID, Dave, we would have phone calls.
Yeah.
You have phone conference, and nobody had to know where you were or what you looked like. Now we're all in front of a screen, and to me, that's very impersonal. But, and with AI, I just utilize it to help support the things that I'm doing from a person to person position.
So I'm not going to see you on the news with a BFF being an AI agent, right?
Man, I just saw a story where people were starting to have relationships
Yeah, that's what I'm
with
saying.
with AI. I mean, it's amazing the things that you can do with the tools. And if that's your comfort level, fine. I just kept thinking, well, if I'm programming something so that it actually supports me in the things that I do, I'm actually just programming myself because
Yeah,
I'm going to put something in there that I want. And so that's me. It's just another facet of who I am.
understood. So let's talk about some key challenges in, building this inclusive, trust-based relationships when we're dealing with diverse communities and even industries. Um, what are some of those challenges that you've ran into so far?
Hmm. So first, I don't separate my interactions with communities based on ethnicity. Even though I'm working with corporations, I'm kind of the conduit between corporates and diverse owned, but small owned businesses, women owned businesses. And really, I haven't come across a lot of challenges,
Hmm.
but I think timing is one because everybody wants things to go faster and some people want them to be larger quickly. And because we don't dictate everybody else's calendar, that's a struggle sometimes, especially if you're in business and you have payroll, you're looking
Hmm.
at your bottom line, you have bills, and you're like, I just need something to come through. And so usually it's just timing.
Okay. Yeah, I can see how, timing is a really important aspect.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. But when you try to, what do you recommend, when you're talking to some of your friends, for
Mm,
maintaining and deepening relationships over time? Because we're in this fast-paced loop, right?
yeah,
Things are moving so fast. It's like, how do you maintain those, keep those relationships going, when you're not
yeah,
doing business with people?
right. You know what's funny? I am a natural connector, or so my friends tell me. I just genuinely like talking to people. And I am super interested in people. Um, I could care less about what a corporation's doing at that moment. I care more about who the person that I'm connecting with is, how they're doing. Like Dave, when you and I started talking,
Yeah,
you asked me about my family, and I asked you about yours because I genuinely care, and I think that
yeah,
comes across. With when it comes to timing, I always promise. my potential clients that I am not a stalker because I used to sit on the other side of that desk, so I know how it runs. So I am very consistent. People feel like they can count on the fact that, hey, I will see Marilyn. She'll follow up. Even if I don't follow up, she'll follow up. She's not coming. If I don't follow up, she's not coming with any shade because I know I'm not the only thing that's in their universe. I understand it. And I also understand this. It's not about me. 99% of the time, it's not about me. Them not following up, them not being available when I think they should be. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know about what's happening in their company. Like, for instance, right now, in this time that we're in, I have a lot of people that I've known over the years who I've worked with or who have networked with who either lost their jobs or they're going through changes within their company. They're having to change their titles, they're having to change the focus of their work, and people are truly trying to figure it out. So, who am I to decide when they have the time to work with me, talk to me? Not a chance. So, Eureka, what I do is I try and stay in front of folks. If there's online conferences that I can attend, I do. There are in-person conferences. I'm going out of town next week to attend an in-person conference. I might get business, I might not. But what's most important is that the people that I've just built a network with over time, they'll see me and they'll know, hey, she's still in business.
Right. That's so good. But as we continue to be remote, right, and the world becomes more connected through just different digital tools, what
Yeah.
are the essential human qualities we have to maintain so that relationships continue to be fulfilling and impactful?
I think that it's nice to try and individualize your communications.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. When you're utilizing AI to create emails or things like that, go back through whatever the AI tool that you use has created and personalize it so that people know that you always want to put that human touch to anything with things being very remote. It's really, really nice because it's crazy when you're used to picking up the phone and calling people. And now, Dave, I've noticed how people don't even have their phone numbers in their signature lines anymore.
Yeah.
And so you're like, well, how in the world am I supposed to get contact with you? And I don't even have your phone number. But you try and stay in front of people, you try and um, have that personal touch with them. You can connect with people on so many different levels, not only email, but also LinkedIn or social media. Just don't come out like a stalker. That's
Hmm.
creepy. But
Yeah.
I know people who they've been awarded different things. I'll just send a quick note, hey, congratulations. I just want people to continue to remember my name. So even though we are virtual, there's a way that you can get people to remember Marilyn or remember John or Joe or Dave by simply just dropping a line, maybe in an email. Understanding people get tons of emails a day, but maybe if you have LinkedIn, in LinkedIn, also staying present in different types of communication tools. I use LinkedIn, but I know some people use a lot of other different social media platforms. I also have access to a certain number of lists that I use for the people that are my prime customer. I'm not just papering up the town. It's the folks that actually would benefit from utilizing my services.
That's so good. Anything you would like to finally leave with our listeners about building relationships and connections? Because I think that is one of your superpowers from the very first
Ah,
time I met
thank
you.
you.
used to watch how you like connect with people in the office that we had downtown. I'm like, look at Marilyn go.
So here's one thing I learned from an incredibly successful entrepreneur many years ago. She said, you need to feel good about yourself
Mm,
because everything that you do or how you feel comes across. So you need to be able to present yourself in the best light, whatever that is. Because if you look good or you feel good and smile, you'll go far. But if you're not feeling the best, if you're not looking the best, you might want to stay home that day. Sit it out or take a knee for a couple of
hmm.
hours, get it together, and then go back out. But consistency, consistency, consistency. You have to show up because if you don't, nobody knows you're there.
That's right. Well, Sister Marilyn, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I know we've been working on this for a while, but I know we were going to
Yeah.
get together
Yep.
anyway. I just
I
knew
am
that.
glad. Listen, I'm glad you like Marilyn, are we ever gonna talk? I was like, oh my God, Dave, yeah. I had completely forgot you guys. I've been traveling and Dave has been consistent in just connecting with me for this talk. But honestly, our relationship, it really was through networking. We saw each
Yeah,
other, we're like, hey, this is a nice guy, this is a nice lady. And we've just continue to rally. We continue to support each other. And I cannot say that enough, especially for people in our community. You have to support each other. And one thing my grandmother used to say is if you keep your hand closed, nothing gets in and nothing gets out. The things that are meant for you will come to you.
that's
So
right.
even with you, Dave, there are opportunities. I know I can't do what you do. And guess what? I will gladly hand it to you. It's too many people holding stuff close to the vest, knowing that's not what they do.
Right.
No one out there. It's like, come on. If it's meant for you, it will be yours.
True that. So, in closing, I would like to just say thank you to my friend Marilyn Johnson for joining us today. So, for this episode of Humans Being Human, so, as we step away from this conversation, I want you to ask yourself, how can I show up more human today? That's a very important aspect, especially as we're in a world that has AI and digital tools who sometimes shape our interactions. We know the challenge could be clear. How do we stay human in a world of automation? And I don't know what the answer is, but perhaps it lies in what we choose to nurture, like trust and empathy and intentional connection, like my friend Marilyn does. And so I'm just saying, at the core of all of our experiences, both professional and personal, is the undeniable power of relationships. You know, uh, Connection isn't just about who we know. It's about how we engage, listen, and support each other. So that's why I'm so grateful for Marilyn all the time. So the KnolShare with Dr. Dave podcast is available in Spotify, Apple, Audible, or wherever you get your podcasts. Check out my latest book, Generative Leadership to Thrive. Has some incredible story about this lady named Ashanti Mwendo, a fictional series that I started. And you can find my books on Amazon, either in audio, Kindle, or print options. And look, thank you for joining us for this journey today. And I say until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and above all, keep supporting each other. That's really important stuff. So thank you, Marilyn.
We all have something to share. No share with Dr. Dave.